Hey, 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 loungers. I hope everybody is doing as great as I am today. Listen, guys, share this out, okay? Because I haven't been live in so long that I'm not even in the algorithm like that, okay? So you guys are going to have to share this out to let everybody know that the lounge is open today. We are definitely going to be talking about all the shenanigans that have been going on with the AFWs and the most recent crash outs of Anti Afro herself. Okay. We are definitely going to be talking about this. We're also going to talk a little bit about my brother Pillz. Because I did look at his community wall this morning. I mean, I've been kind of antsy about what's going on. And hey, I've been looking around and seeing what's all the BS that's been popping off. Okay. And Pills, we are going to go over what he said. He is not happy at all. And I'm definitely here to, stand up for my brother Pills and talk about this a little bit and give my opinion on what he's really thinking. Okay. So shout out to Pills, and we're definitely going to get into that. I also want to talk about Remix and how it's clear that he is putting serious pressure on those AFWs, okay? And they are busting at the seams. And we are definitely going to talk about all of this stuff today. Shout out to all of y'all who are in the clouds, everybody who will be coming in, and those that will catch the replay as well. I truly always appreciate all of the support out here in the sector. Okay, Pastor Vic, I appreciate you being in the building today. Also, the beautiful Bernice, I appreciate you coming in today, sis. And KKC, definitely appreciate you as well. Peace, peace to you. All right, so we are going to do one of my, hey Brixton, I appreciate you being in the building as well. I can't really say that I'm back, right? Um, I still really don't have a lot of time to do this, right? I honestly just don't, especially during the week, right? But I can say that I will come and at least address some of the craziness, right, that actually goes on in the sector. And this right here is definitely something worth talking about. It's something I've talked about behind the scenes. And so I'm definitely willing to talk about, whatever I say behind the scenes, I can say in public too. So I'm definitely willing to talk about that today and get into these topics because this shit is wild. Okay. I don't know what type time anti is on, but honey, it ain't good. It ain't looking good at all. So, but I'm here to let her know. Okay, we are definitely going to get into this today. So make sure y'all go ahead and grab up some popcorn. Go ahead and roll up, y'all, because that's what I'm about to do. And we're gonna sit here and we're gonna, bust it up a little bit. Play a couple of timers. I know y'all miss my timers. And I haven't made any new ones. So, all the ones y'all gonna get the classic ones today because I ain't made no new timers out here. I ain't even got time to be playing around with Canva like that right now. But it is what it is. Okay. So, but if we do, I will say this: if we do the Survivor series for Remix, right? If we actually do that, I haven't heard from him yet. I'm looking. I'm gonna tell y'all. Well, I'll let y'all know in the show what I plan on doing with this whole situation. Okay. But I definitely do have some plans about that. I'm going to talk a little bit about that as far as like the production. If we do this, it's going to be a full production, right? Like I've done before. But I'm definitely going to talk about that a little bit as well because I do have some ideas about that I want to put out there and I want it to be clear because I don't think it's very clear to some people. All right, so we're going to get into that in just a second. You say you just here for the timers. All right, so let's get into that, okay? And y'all go ahead and grab y'all stuff up, get your breakfast, get some water, okay, some alkaline or something in there, and let's get started, guys. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and play one of the famous timers out here. Those timers bring back so many good memories, y'all. They really do. Like a lot of those timers that I've had, like I remember having some of the best conversations with the sector and playing some of that music, So shout out to y'all for, just coming through and loving some of the classics that we have in the sector. It just kind of keeps us together, keeps us bonding and different shit like that, and no matter how much time we spend away from, the microphone sometimes, we can always come back and just enjoy those moments. So shout out to y'all because y'all are the ones that actually make those timers memorable to me, right? So, I just wanted to say that. Yeah, I gotta go in the archives, KKC, and get that. I actually do still have that one. I have every single timer I've ever done. And so I just have to go in the archives. It's just not in StreamYard right now. But I know where it's at. So next time I do a live, I might play it, right? Because that's definitely a classic. Shout out to Bombay. He's the one that's actually behind that timer there. So shout out to him. And I definitely do got to go get that. But shout out to you for remembering that because that is a classic timer. You said make a change. I appreciate you being in the building. You said, and the time is right with T Pre. That's right. That's right. Let's go. Hey, Joe, appreciate you being in the building as well. And the beautiful Bernice, I think we already spoke, but everybody's just kind of saying hey to each other. All right. Okay. Okay. So, yeah, so I'll bring back some of the older timers that I have. But that one I just played is funny because that one was actually remade from shout out to Triggs, right? The first song, he actually remade that song into like a joke on Photon. Okay, so that shit it was always hilarious to me, and now every time I hear it, I just laugh. I think about that shit. So that's funny. And then the second song, JJ actually thought that I had a part in writing the song or I had a part in singing the song. No, I had no parts of that at all. I actually got that. That's a stock song I think I got from, I don't remember where I got it from. But I did get that song from somewhere. And I just happen to like music like that. That neo soul kind of jazzy kind of music. I really love that shit. So that's just my style. But no, I had no parts in creating that song at all. That's actually a song that I found. So but shout out to whoever the writers were because I really don't remember. And y'all probably could find it if y'all, kind of checked it out or whatever, or Google reversed it or whatever you do to find out stuff. Anti. Anyway, let's get into all of the shenanigans that have been going on in the sector. There has been so much stuff. I don't even know like where to begin with this. Okay. I have a laundry list of things I definitely want to talk about. But y'all let me know where y'all want to jump in, okay? Or if y'all want me to jump in on a particular topic, or you have a particular question about my thoughts on something, okay? But I'm definitely going to be talking today about Anti's community wall and how she has been crashing out for the past couple of days. How Rev G is now crashing out as well. I mean, he's always crashing out anyway, but I mean, he's really amped it up in the past couple of days. And honestly, y'all, I think Rev G is pissed the fuck off. I do. I think Anti's pissed off too, but I think she's more embarrassed and she never can, admit embarrassment. Of course she's not going to admit that she's embarrassed, but I think she's embarrassed, right? She's, and we're going to get into the stuff that she's been saying. We're also going to talk about Pillz and what his thoughts are recently on what's been going on in the new developments, because he definitely posted about that. So I want to talk about that. I also want to talk about what my opinion is of what he thought to begin with. Okay. Because I think it's a little bit deeper than just what's been going on the surface, and I do want to give my opinion about that. Shout out to Pills, and I definitely have a strong opinion about that, and I do want to discuss that. I want to do talk about as well the call between Anti and the police, okay, and the Las Vegas police, and my thoughts on that. Because I gave a little bit of commentary last night on Trake's show about it, but I definitely want to give a little bit of a deeper breakdown of my thoughts on this because this is really crazy, okay? And it's something that we need to talk about for sure because This is nuts. Okay, nobody in history has ever done anything as crazy as this, as far as I know. Anyway, but yeah, we're going to get into that a little bit and kind of break down at least my opinions about those things. And then, we're also going to talk about, the history of anti with this kind of exposure, right? How there tends to be this periods of time that's been coming up in the past couple of years where a lot of things have been exposed about the AFWs and particularly about anti and her inner workings and some of the things she does behind the scenes and how she tries to paint that picture to the sector but how it really is. Okay, and we're going to talk about that too and just break that down a little bit. Hey Divine, I appreciate you being in the building. You said he might be in shock. Child, if listen, I'm not going to lie to you. I was sitting there dumbfounded. I was fucking shocked myself. This is like a lowest of all lows of all, even for her. You know what I'm saying? Like this is something that, like, even though it's like this, right? And let's start talking about her a little bit. Even though, we're not really surprised per se of what she's doing, because I think we all kind of knew anyway. Like, everybody knows that she's a doxer. Everybody knows that she's been pulling people's information and trying to find people. That's not anything new, right? The news is how far she's willing to go to do this kind of stuff, right? And we've put out some stories. We've talked about some things like, how Anti is pulling information from what first we thought she was in the Ventura County District Attorney's office. Turns out that was a flop, right? And then, but the whole time, everybody was saying she lives in El Cajon, right? And she lives down there in Southern California. And, she kept denying that existence until now. Now she has to prove, has to say, yes, this is who I am, this is where I live, and these are the police I need to call, right? Because, we've been saying all these years that that's her. And she's been trying to deny that that's her, that we don't know who, she is and all this other stuff. And, unfortunately, because of the pressure that Remix has put on these AFWs, she now has to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what's really going on here. And I think that, it's important to kind of see the dynamic of all this, right? Like, Remix definitely is the one that put that pressure on her because she knew he was in possession of this, right? And if he's in possession of this, I can only imagine what else he got. Okay. And she knows that. And that's why she can't get any sleep. That's why her community wall is busting at the seams with all of this ooze of confessions and everything else, right? Because literally she knows Remix has her by the balls right now. And she said this same thing about every other person who has had her by the balls. Okay. We're talking about KKC. We're talking about Mona De Leon. We're talking about Me and Mines, the beautiful Bernice. Let me see your transcript. Dr. Nikki. Uh, uh, and now Remix, right? Amongst a laundry list of other people as well, right? There's some people who just don't want to come forward yet. You know what I'm saying? Or who just aren't really interested in the fight between her and them if they had to come forward, and that kind of thing. And that's understandable. But every single one of the people that I mentioned just now, she said the very same things about that she's saying about Remix right now. That he doesn't have any information. He doesn't have anything, that could be a bombshell or anything like that. See, Anti doesn't understand one thing, and we're going to break this down for her right now. We're going to help her understand some shit. Anti doesn't understand that none of us are looking for any particular thing to do what she's trying to do to us, which is get us locked up, ruin our lives, do all the. We're not looking for any of that because none of us care enough to ruin her life. None of us care enough to put her in jail per se, right? All we want her to do is stop bothering us. And what we're seeing is a manifestation of everything that she tried to say about us, right? That we're the criminals, we're the doxers, We're the ones looking up information. We're the ones trying to fish for information on them. That we're going to Social Security and we're doing all these crazy diabolical things in her fantastical mind. And the whole time, this is a manifestation of her looking in the mirror, complaining about her own behavior. That's what she's been doing all these years. The mask is falling off in her face because everything that she has accused all of us of doing is all that Remix has to show to us, right? The same thing that KKC had for us, the same things that Me and Mines have shown us, the same things that Mona has shown us. Every single one of these people can prove all of the diabolical things that we've been telling Anti she's been doing, and she's been pointing the finger back at us and saying, no, it's all of you. It's all of you. And going on these campaigns to prove it. And no, the proof and the evidence is in her emails, is in her own admissions and her own phone calls. And that's what she doesn't get. That's the part. That's the gotcha moment that she can't grasp. Because in her mind, she thinks everybody's on this war and this campaign to destroy each other, when the only person on that campaign is her and anybody that she still has running around as one of her minions. And most of the minions, they don't even understand. They just have these mental blocks, unfortunately, right? These mental health conditions, unfortunately, that, she preys upon as a professional, knowing these things about these conditions and how you can exacerbate such conditions. She knows these things and she works upon those things. And Remix, I believe he has a plethora of information to actually prove that shit. That's why I want to see the emails, right? I don't need to see every single email, read every single email. I don't know if I want to do all that. I first think that Remix should do his own show. And shout out to Triggs because Triggs mentioned what I was thinking. This is why I told Remix to take your time, right? I said, take your time. You're not in a rush, you know? But whenever you're ready to talk to me, I'm going to go ahead and hand you a couple dollars on the side, because you actually deserve that. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear your story. But I first want to see you present something to the sector, right? Um, I think that, this would be a bigger story on your channel because this is your story. And you have a lot. I believe he has a lot, right? And then once he's done, going and doing his little, thing that he got to do, then, go ahead and we'll get together and we'll do a little chronicle show, right? We'll put together a nice little production. I'll get the StreamYard, duck off the screen, all that shit, and we'll do a nice little production for it. I'll put some music together for it, and different things and just get it popping, right? If we got to do a couple of shows, we'll do that. Of course, you got to let me know, but I think this has got to be something that's got to come up, pretty soon if this is something we're actually going to do. But I can't go during the week and I damn sure can't do no daytimes, right? So we'll have to figure out something. But my email Remix is lovinglife7842 at gmail.com, right? I want you to hit me up when you're ready. I don't think it's necessarily time to do this today or whatever, right? I think, like I said, I think you need to present some more evidence to us, of whether or not you have anything else. And I do believe you do. I think you really do. I think you just have so much and it's so overwhelming you don't even know probably how to put it together, right? So if you need some assistance with that, I'm willing to help you do that. You know what I'm saying? Or if somebody else, want to pop up and help him do that, maybe somebody needs to help him do that. Maybe the Godfather can help because I know that he talked about helping you too, right? So that's just my thoughts on that. But that is definitely what I think he should do. And then, if you got when you're ready to talk to me, we can definitely put together a Chronicle show. And then I do know that Darrell wants to talk to you too, right? And get some emails from you. So whenever you're ready, but some of this evidence, some of these bombshells, I like how I feel like he did. I feel like he did a really excellent thing with that, right? Like him not putting it out, but putting the pressure on her to make her do it. And that's the part she didn't even realize was going on either, right? Like in her mind, she's just like, I'm gonna do it before you. But it's like this shit really implicates you, anti. It really implicated you, right? And let's get into that. Before I do, let me go ahead and read y'all comments because I see y'all have a couple of comments. Hey, LV, appreciate you being in the building. You said, hold on, let me go back up here. Yeah, like you said, he might be in shock, right? I mean, child, I'm in shock. Like I said, this is like the lowest of the low for anti, even, you know? And hey, Divine, I appreciate you being in the building, sis. You saying hey to each other. You said if she called the police on Pillz, imagine what she's about to do to Remix. He better get ready. So, okay, let's talk about that, right? Because you did say that yesterday, and I got the point of what you were trying to say. But y'all have bad blood between each other, right? So, hold on, y'all. I'm taking a sip of my water. Y'all have bad blood between each other, right? So, I think you two trying to have a man on man discussion was kind of not the right timing, right? And then y'all end up talking shit and then the conversation's over after that, right? But I did get what you were saying because I agree with you, right? What are we going to do when this goes off of YouTube? Because that's exactly what she does. And this is a clear example of it. What she showed us in this video, dumbass, what her dumbass showed us in this video is the fact that she does take things offline and she will try her damnedest to not only try to get your life ruined and put you in jail, take you away from your children, your family, all kinds of stuff, but she'll also like lie about it to do it. You know what I'm saying? And like make up stories and use sector topics with it, as if this is real life. And these are sector stories that they've made up. This whole story about the social security and all these other things, there's never been any hard evidence of any of that actually coming out, right? But this is something they've made up and they keep talking about and keep hammering in the sector. And then want to bring it to real life police, and have these conversations with these people. These are the kinds of things that anti is willing to do. And if she would do this to Pills, I think she would try to do this to Remix. And Remix seems to be living his life the right way. He seemed to be trying to work and trying to keep himself together, trying to take care of his kids and stuff and whatever he's doing. And, do we need him in jail? Because he's finally deciding to turn his back on her, like a lot of other people have done, right? Um, I don't think he should be in jail for it as long as he ain't commit no crime, right? It seems to me that she's the one committing the crimes. And that's what I'm saying. Like, we're going to talk about and break down this actual call because this shit is wild what she did. And it's deeper than just, talking a bunch of fantastical shit about the sector. It's she actually lied to the police just to get Pills put in prison over a real life situation that he was really experiencing, and she tried to latch onto it, and add all this extra sauce and all this extra stuff to the actual cops. And that is a crime. I don't know what part of that she doesn't understand, right? And so we're going to break that down a little bit and just talk about that. Like I said, I'm not an expert at the law or anything, but that is really a thing. But yeah, I agree with you, KKC. I'm not sure how far she'd be willing to go to try to ruin Remix's life. And he has children, He got a mother, a family to look after. And me and Remix ain't best of friends or nothing. But let's be real. This is a man living his own fucking life, and all he want to do is not fuck with them no more. you know and here they are talking shit and creating problems and creating this. They already know he's a hothead, right? And so, I'm not sure how she thought this would turn out, but this is how she is. She's on this quote unquote internet war path that nobody gives a fuck about but her. And look at how far she's willing to go just to fuck with somebody and ruin somebody's life. So I do agree with you, and I don't think that that's something I want to see happen for sure. You said she's still lying about these stolen social security numbers. I wonder what she's going to say when she finds out Mona never worked for Social Security. This is what I've been trying to tell people for the longest fucking time, man. I've been trying to tell y'all that anti is the one. And one of these days, I'm going to go back and look in the chronicles and find it, right? But it's definitely there. I have it all time stamped and everything in there. So I'll have to go back and take a look at this. But Anti is the one that actually showed us an email between her and Mona. It was an email exchange between her and Mona. Okay. And in this email exchange, Anti says something about the her getting the information from the Social Security. Did she get the job? And Mona was like, I never started working for Social Security. I never got that job. And then she went into all this other stuff. So Mona Anti actually proved to the sector already that Mona never worked for the Social Security Administration. She's the one that showed us that. Okay. Now, I don't know what happened. I'm not saying nobody was doxxed. I'm not saying people's information wasn't found. I don't know, right? All I know is that Social Security Administration lie is exactly that. Originally, Mona said that she was going to take a job at the Social Security Administration. And then Anti herself showed us an email from Mona saying she never took the job at the Social Security Administration. It is in the Survivor Series Chronicles. Y'all can go take a look at that yourself. Okay, I have it time stamped. Nobody can say that didn't happen because Anti is the one that showed it to us, and I definitely played it. Okay, I definitely showed it. So the entire Social Security Administration bullshit was a distraction. They wanted people to be distracted from what was happening in the Survivor Series Chronicles at the time. They wanted everybody to keep believing that there was some crime that was going on and all of us were wrapped up in this crime. They had a laundry list of people who were at this quote unquote blackout meeting who had nothing to do with anything concerning Social Security or anything like that. It had everything to do with how fucked up these AFWs are and how we were tired of people calling people's fucking jobs. That's what it was about. And most of the people that were on this laundry list of people weren't even there. That's just the bottom line. They just weren't. These are just people that Anti hates and Anti can't stand. That's all it was. That's the list of people that she put on there. These people weren't even there. That's how stupid they are, you know. But either way, I'm just so sick of that damn Social Security story. And then, I mean, this bitch, look where she fucking live. Like imagine stealing her Social Security. Like, what are we gonna do with you? Y'all ain't got no good credit. Y'all don't. Nothing good is going on in y'all lives, and y'all want us to believe that niggas is stealing y'all Social Security information. Like, but you're actually now not only just telling the sector this, right? Where we can just ignore you, right? We can literally just ignore you and not give a fuck what the fuck you're talking about. But you are bringing this to the fucking police. You are lying to the police with with these fantastical internet stories. Okay, this is where the crime comes in, and I want to look that up real quick. Let me take a second to look into that. Hold on, guys. All right, so yes, making a false police report Making a false police report is a crime. Now, here in Delaware, it's a Class A misdemeanor punishable by fines and potentially jail time. The specific charges and penalties can vary based on the nature of the false report and the jurisdiction. So let's see in California. California, yay. Yes, it is a crime in California to knowingly make a false report of a crime to law enforcement or other authorities. This is defined under California Penal Code 148.5. The offense is typically charged as a misdemeanor, carrying a potential punishment of up to 6 months in jail and or $1,000 fine. Now, this is where I think it gets real sticky with anti, okay? And I'm going to get into your comments in just a second, but this is where I think it gets so sticky with her. She did not call the El Cajon Police Department. She called straight directly to Las Vegas Police, right? She wanted to get over there and make sure that she got to the Las Vegas Police Department so that she could get up under their jurisdiction and talk about, Pillz because of, him being over there, okay? She never went to El Cajon, which the Las Vegas police ended up telling her, hey, this right here, they're not going to really. They basically said, we don't give a shit. Shout out to Triggs. He definitely broke that down. But they basically said, we are not going to get into any of this in these internet shenanigans. If you feel like you have an issue where this man is threatening you or something, you need to call your police, right? But I want y'all to remember how many times she actually has. Okay. Andrea Stewart has called the El Cajon police on Flacco, on TC, on D. Durrell, on Shakim Ra, on Binary, on multiple fucking people. She has made various ridiculous false complaints about people on YouTube. Okay. She has already done this multiple times. They don't want to hear from her no more. They are sick of her. Okay. They wanted to, I don't know if it was them or the FBI, I don't remember which one, but one of them wanted to confiscate her computer because she kept making these false reports over and over again about various things. And they started telling her, like, listen, we're about to come after you, right? Because of all this bullshit that you're doing. Okay. See, we haven't forgotten that anti. That was just a couple years ago. Okay. We have not forgotten that. But you definitely did. And so therefore, I don't think you want to call the El Cajon Police Department, right? I think you're scared to call them, right? Because you know they on your motherfucking ass, right? You know they're not playing with you anymore, right? You know these things already, anti. So I think that's the problem here, right? It's not like this would be one time or even twice that Anti has made some false reports to the police, okay? So at this point, she's actually facing that jail time and these $1,000 fines because of how many instances of her contacting the police falsely on somebody and ballooning some story that came from YouTube out of something that it's not, creating this big fantastical issue like she's some victim of this person. These are things that Anti has been doing for years, and her police department is aware of it. Yes, Anti. So it is a crime for you to be contacting the police, right? And knowingly making false reports to them. No matter how much you try to prove because you've said it 1,000 times, right? So now you believe it because you've said it 1,000 times. No matter how many times you try to prove that there's this social security scandal going on and that, this stuff was stolen and that he threatened you with the stolen information. These are lies you told to the police, honey. Okay, that's just the bottom line. Very easily debunkable lies too. Like very easily debunked lies as well. Okay, that you told to the police. So therefore, you are knowingly making false reports of crimes to law enforcement and other authorities. And now you could be facing jail time and hefty fines over you continuously doing that. And I wonder if it's and this would be something that how many times you've done it would add more time to you or add more fines to you. Like I'm just wondering, like I'm not a expert in that, but I kind of wonder if that's the case, right? Um and if it is all of this worth it? Like this is where I'm at with this. At some point, you got to go get some help, sweetheart. You got to get off the internet. This is an addiction you have to the internet, and it's sick. It's disgusting. Even the cop was like, not even making sense of how you're involved with anything concerning pills at all, right? How you're involved with any of this stuff. The same way that they were just as perplexed when you called them about every other person in the sector, right? um, you know, they're just as perplexed now, and they'll always be perplexed, you know. And it's funny because Remix knew all along how fucking crazy and deranged you are, but he went along with it because you had the backing of allegedly Cupcake, right? Paying for certain things, giving out money everywhere for certain things, right? And now that he done fell out with her. Yeah. And you couldn't control him, of course, right? Like you can control Star, you can control all the rest of them. You can't control him, right? Now that he done fell out with her, them payments weren't coming in because you weren't the one that had the payments. Yeah, right. Let's talk about your job situation while you out here, talking about everybody else while you out here, knowing how, resignation letters sign and how they sound, right? You know about that because what happened with your job, anti? What happened? What happened back in October? Or was it September? Hmm? Did you walk away from Kepro because uh they was on your ass, right? You were under investigation, right? And you knew it. And you knew what they would find. You knew what it was going to come to. You knew what the outcome was. You knew that once they did and finished and completed that investigation, that your ass was cooked. And that not only would you be cooked, but you're looking at your license to be revoked. You knew this. You know this. And you know it's still on the line, too. I'm not going to talk about the license yet, at least yet, right? But you knew all of that. And so with a little dignity, you just resigned, right? You decided to just go on with your life. So you ain't got the money. You never had the money anyway. You were only making 81,000 as a therapist and over there and you weren't even making that much money for California. You weren't. And so now you're in the unemployment line, which I don't think you are because you had to resign. So you couldn't even collect unemployment, but you had a little couple dollars, but you couldn't give it to Remix, right? You couldn't give him that money, right? Yeah. So the money dried up and, he wasn't going to keep playing these shenanigans with you fools. He wasn't going to keep doing that because you can't give him any payments for him to even keep up this bullshit because nobody would do this without getting paid. Let's be real. Nobody would do any of this bullshit for you except Stargate, of course, right? Of course, right? Because she do everything for free. We know that. She give out showers for free. She do all kinds of shit for free. Okay. But anyway, um, a nigga like Remix, he ain't gonna do some shit like that for free. Okay, and just keep running around here with this bullshit, this police ass shit for nothing. Okay, so that's unfortunate for you. But the beauty of it is that you're so slow, anti, right? You're smart, but you're slow at the same time. You don't see this pattern coming at you over and over and over again. That's how blinded you are to your own bullshit, right? You don't see this pattern because This has happened so many times to you in the past couple of years. All your bullshit, all your drama, all your nonsense, all your lies, right? All the stuff that you try to make other people think is going on and this is really going on and you're just your hands are innocent and clean and we do things the right way. Do you? Because the that wasn't the only crime was you actually lying to the police. The other crime was phishing, right? Where you were literally trying to get Pill's information from the police, right? You were unsuccessful in doing that. And God knows how you did actually get it. And I'm pretty sure Remix has it, right? But here's the other thing where you're trying to make it sound like, you were never going to give him any information. How would he know about any of this unless you told him? You had to tell him the information. How would he know any of this stuff if you didn't share it? What you're going to tell us now that he tapped into your phone and he was spying on you? Is that what you're going to tell us, Anti? Is that what happened? Right? Because literally, it had to be you that handed him this information in a gift box. And you did it for a specific reason. Not because you had no intentions of doing that and because he kept begging for it. Mm-mm. See, I know something about you, right, Anti? I think the sector knows this about you now because you have a pattern of this, right? We've shown the patterns. You never wait for somebody to beg you for anything if they're in your inner circle. No, you go on the campaign for them. They're not even fighting. They're not even going through the battle. You get on the battlefield and you get out there and you fight the battle behind the scenes. You get in and gather all the information and then you present it to them as a gift to them. Like, hey, this is what I'm doing for you. Those bad people over there, they don't love you. I love you. I'm your mommy. I'm going to take care of you. You do that with all of them. You do it with Rev G all the time. You're always on the battlefield for Rev G. Rev G don't have to beg you to help him, right? You do this for Breakin. Breakin don't have to beg you to help her, right? Stargate, she don't have to beg you to help her. No, you go on these battles for them because you consider them your inner circle. The same things you've done for Mona, the same things you did when you thought KKC was on your side, the same things you used to do for Bernice, the same things you used to do for everybody that was on your quote unquote team, right? You would go hard for them until they didn't want to fuck with you. And then once they don't want to fuck with you, now it's, oh, they were begging me for help. They wanted my help. They were begging me. No, they weren't. That's the delusion in your mind, right? That the same delusion that you gave to the police when you said it's obvious that you would be interested in this whole situation, as if you're law enforcement, right? As if you have some reason to have a vested interest in someone who lives in a completely different state than you do, thousands of miles away, well, hundreds of miles away, right? Yeah, this is the kind of delusion that you have in your mind, Anti, that you think, you know, you somehow are supposed to be involved in this really crazy, ridiculous behavior that you've done and you've shown a pattern of doing, and people are exposing you, and you can't stand it. That's the problem. It's the mirror being put to your face, and that's what's going on here. So it wasn't just the false report, right? That was the crime. But then it was also the phishing. It was the trying to get this man's information, trying to find his name. Also, you can give this information to Remix so Remix can use it against him. Because you can't fight your own battles. You got to get other people to fight your battles for you because you're a coward. That's what's going on. Anti. That's what you've always been. And that's what you've always been doing. So that's my thoughts on that. And I want to talk about pills a little bit. But before I do, let me go ahead and finish up the comments here. And then I also want to take a little second of a break because we've been here almost an hour. And so I definitely want to take a second of a break. What's up, LV? I definitely appreciate you being in the building. You said because of if Mona worked for Social Security, she would have a recording calling them. Exactly, right? Exactly. You said, LV, I'm gonna get you, LOL. You said exactly, T Pre. You said Mo. You said I personally think Remix has emails that implicate Rev G more than they do AAS. Rev has been caught passing info around. I think Diderell, DC, except me, a bunch of people. Yeah, I even had some information of Rev G passing around information about me. You said I agree, Brixton. You said, please remember to hit that like button. Yep, please remember that, y'all. You said, the beautiful Bernice 100. You said, hey to everyone. You said, hey to Passive Vic. Okay, everybody's speaking to each other. Hey, Darrell, appreciate you being in the building, bro. You said, what's up to the chat? You said, yep, but Mona did work where she could get information. Okay, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm saying, like, it's possible that that happened. I'm not saying that that didn't happen. But the Social Security thing is what Anti is trying to say. And that is not true. It just isn't. And Anti is the one that proved it about that whole Social Security thing. You said that's why she made a video telling young Pharaoh that KKC was given his records by Mona, right? You said a beautiful Bernice facts. Mona was accessing information. Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying that never happened. I don't know. But the Social Security thing never happened. That it just didn't. And if it did, she would have had that by now. You said the beautiful Bernice was what Mona was doing only became a problem for AAS. She allegedly accessed AAS's information. Exactly. Exactly. These are facts. Okay. These are facts. You said, yes, make a change. She was getting her info since at least 2017. Child. Hey, Brown Sugar Baby. Definitely appreciate you being in the building. Said good morning. Listening while working out. AAS needs to be locked up in a mental asylum. Child. I'm just saying, this woman is crazy. The way that conversation came out with that cop. I cannot understand how she thinks that's a win for her. That she would put this out here. But she had to put it out because, in her mind, she's in this internet competition with Remix, and Remix is like, go ahead and put that shit out there. Like, he definitely put the pressure on her to end up implicating herself. Okay. And shout out to him. That's definitely a win for him when it comes to that. But now, now he's got to show us, some more shit, keep our attention over here. But that's what I'm saying. You said hello to the beautiful Bernice. You said Star's self-esteem is in the pits, hence why she gets manipulated, brainwashed, and used by Mrs. Fingali. Exactly. And all of them, all of the ones who, remain under that grip, that's kind of where they are. And that's the truth about them. It hurts. The truth fucking hurts, but it is what it is. She could put as many pictures of me as she wants up. Honey, you're never gonna silence me. None of y'all bitches scare me. Okay. And you're never gonna silence me, Star. It just is what it is. Okay. Yeah. Anyway. You said she didn't pay him because I got on his panel and we chopped it up for a few minutes. I met some of his new friends and everything, but she made him take the live down. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. You said, yep. You said, I agree. You said, this lady is batshit crazy. She never stops. Facts. You said, AAS knows these individuals are weak minded. Hence the reason she said Pillz is impressionable. She used that to her advantage. You know, that word impressionable, right, always rubs me the wrong way when you're speaking of adults. And I'll tell you guys why. It kind of sparked something in me. I'll tell you guys. Um, why I did for just a second. We're going to go off on this tangent real quick. I remember when I was first learning about a lot of the corruption in the JWs and the Jehovah's Witnesses, right? And how I remember one particular thing that I heard that Rutherford used to say, okay, about black people. Was it Rutherford? I'm pretty sure it was Rutherford. Yeah, it was Rutherford. It wasn't Russell, it was Rutherford, okay, which was the second president of the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, okay? Very weird ass nigga. He was a drunk, he was a pedophile, he was so many ridiculous things wrong with Rutherford, okay? And he was also prejudiced, all right? And one of the things he said about black Jehovah's Witnesses at the time, they were all Bible students at the time, I think they were called. He said, he said, Black people are impressionable and they're easily teachable, right? So, this is why he likes to have Black members because of how impressionable and teachable Black people were. Okay. And I remember when I heard that, it just rubbed me so wrong, right? And to ever since then, anytime I hear somebody say, oh, this person is impressionable or this person is teachable, I don't like that, because to me it sounds like manipulation, right? To me it sounds like, oh, I can easily manipulate this person. I can impress myself upon this person and they are going to go with it. Okay, this particular type of person is going to go with my impressions and go with what I teach and what I say. To me that's very cultish. It's very disgusting and it's deep, right? So for her to say that about Pills, and the way that she targets certain people in the sector, the way that she targets particular people, and impresses herself upon them and makes up these fantastical stories and keeps their minds just reeling and all this nonsense, right? The way that she even thinks that Pills is built like that is what got me. And that's just absolutely ridiculous to me. So I'm glad that you brought that up because yeah, that was crazy that she would say that. You said hey to seven. You said I think she made a report on him for say she sent him purple panties. For saying that she sent him purple panties. That's fucking wild. That is nuts, right? He said AAS know who got their info. It was Daryl Moore, and he made a live about it. Exactly. He sure did. It sure did. You said he said it, but they never called on him. Exactly. You said, hey, T Pre. Hey, Too Big. Appreciate you being in the building. You said, yep, Josephine. You said, Star will do anything for attention. And it don't even got to be no money involved, honey. Just attention. As long as you looking at her, child, it don't make no sense. She about to get a lot of attention very soon now. Star, you about to get a lot of attention very soon, sweetheart. You said adults are impressionable when seeking validation or meaning. Exactly. Like it's like a person who can be manipulated, right? A person who can easily be influenced, right? These are the kinds of people that she thinks these people are. She thinks, that Pills is one of those people. And we're going to get into Pills in just a second. I definitely wanted to talk about him. You said we have a lot of them in this sector. Yeah, unfortunately. You said I'm sure Dita Rell can shine some light on the topic since he has a background in understanding these things. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's take a quick timer, y'all. Let's do a nice little, let me find y'all a famous timer. And we'll get back into Pills in just a moment. I definitely want to discuss some things about him. Um, so yeah, let's do this one. I was gonna play this one. Yeah, let's play this one so we can piss her off real quick, and then we'll do another quick timer after this one.
I can't argue with you. You mad. I can't argue with you. No. Look at you. Look at you. You mad. Look at you. You big man. I'm happy. Leave me alone. I'm happy. Sway. Leave me alone. Who is you? Who is you? You ain't nobody.
All right, let's do the real timer. Let's do the real timer. You said the thing is, Star is like very slow. It's weird. Her obsessive behavior and dumbass reasoning is wild. I'm starting to toy with the notion that she may be on the spectrum a little bit. Yeah. We're I'm not going to speak on much about Star until later, right? I might definitely speak on it later. But there is some things that will be coming out about Star. She better just have several seats, sweetheart, because I know Star wants to keep bringing up all kinds of crazy shit and making up stories about everybody all day. But, baby, I have said this a few times in the sector to a couple of people. When somebody got your truth out here, okay, and your truth is worse than any fucking lies you can ever tell about somebody else, you might just want to sit down and have several fucking seats, okay? Like, I know people like to exaggerate shit that they think is going on in people's lives and all kinds of stuff, but child, that's all I'm going to say. Child, you need to sit and have several seats because, pride always comes before the fall, okay? And I know Star is a very prideful person, or at least she tries to perceive that way, herself that way online. Give us that perception. But yeah, sweetheart, mm, that's all I'm gonna say. But shout out to Jeff. All right. So, y'all make sure y'all are subscribed to Josephine. Okay. Please, one of the mods can put a link to her channel in the comment section. That way Josephine can get everybody over there when she does go live because there is a lot going on. Okay, there's a lot that will be going on. Also, Joe did a really funny video on Star yesterday, so y'all make sure y'all go check that out as well. But yeah, she will be doing a series very soon, and I'm very excited about it. So shout out to Joe. Anyway, you said the thing is okay. So we already talked about that. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about Pillz a little bit, okay? Because I want to read his community post. It was very short and to the point, but I definitely want to read it, okay? Because child. I think it's important, that we might have some, at least, have an understanding of how people really feel about situations, right? Because, there's a lot of things going around, and people might think, it might be something else, but it's actually something different. And shout out to you for sharing the show. Appreciate that, bro. You said, I have people calling the police and trying to put a case on me over YouTube. Whenever I go live, I'm going to need AAS to hit my link, right? And I'm gonna need her to do that too, right? Because she's had these balls lately to be hopping on links and popping up on panels and getting protected and all these other things. And I'm gonna give my opinion about that. I don't like the idea of protecting her. I don't think I would do that, but it's not my show. It's not my call to make. If this is something that Pills wants to do, hey, whatever, right? I'm a moderator over there. I'm always going to support whatever he wants, right? But at the end of the day, there's a limit to this, okay? And I think he's at his limit at this point, okay? And I also think that Pillz likes to give people a chance. I think that Pillz is fair to, he doesn't want to, jump to conclusions about people and about situations. He would rather really see some evidence and some facts about some shit. And I got to respect that because I'm the same way, actually, right? I don't like people to just throw narratives at me and tell me a bunch of shit without having actual proof and actual facts of what you're saying, right? Actually having some, some receipts, right? I think that's kind of what the history of Black Lounge has been. I generally will show some receipts on some things. There's been times where I've thrown sauce on people's stories or whatever, but most of the time it's not. It's usually fact driven. I usually have receipts to show to back it up. All the Survivor series and stuff I've done, all of those are factual, and I've shown actual evidence and receipts of those things, and that kind of stuff, right? I never tried to just say stuff and stick it to the wall and hope everybody just runs with it. I don't like that kind of shit. And I think Pills is the same way. I think he really doesn't like when motherfuckers just say stuff. Yeah, he has fun with that, right? He'll have, a ball with that on the channel and, we laugh and joke and roast each other on the panel and stuff over there on the drive. But ultimately, I don't think he takes most of that shit seriously, right? I think, in the real run of life, I don't think he's like, oh, this is really serious, right? Until it gets serious, okay? And when it gets serious, it's because there's actual evidence of it being serious, right? Kind of the same thing I've been doing too. I haven't been going live and talking about every little thing because I just really don't have the time, and a lot of times I don't really have the energy to do it either, right? But if something is really hitting the fan and that shit gets real, I just might hit the live button and talk about it, right? And the last time I talked and went live and talked about some shit, it was about Kip, and how he had came out as the Georgia Gobbler. Okay, so we all now know him as the Georgia Gobbler. He is definitely a person who was out here, doing his thing down there in Georgia. It is what it is, and it is what it is, right? But that's kind of the last time I really talked about something because that was something that really hit the fan out here. This whole thing with Remix, I've actually been talking about this to a couple of people already and gave my opinion on what would happen. I'm not going to say who, anything like that, but I definitely gave my opinion a few months ago about my thoughts on Remix, and how he's going to end up turning on them one day. You know what I'm saying? And how, it's not going to turn out pretty. Um, so, I definitely felt this. And I do think that Pills kind of feels the same way. I think that he literally, needs to see some evidence of something before he can actually act on something, right? Before he can actually say something about something. So now that he has actual proof from Anti herself, not from Remix, not from me, not from D Darrell, not from anybody else, but from Anti herself, proving that she really tried to not only call the cops on Pills, right? To try for some false, fake ass shit, but she was trying to gather his fucking true information. Not only his, but the other defendant that's on the case. She was trying to gather information on both of them. For what? Right? Like, what would drive somebody to want to go this far to get somebody's information over talking shit about each other on the internet? What would drive a 60-plus-year-old professional woman, allegedly, to go this far to find somebody's information, not only for herself, right? Not just for herself so she can file some kind of complaint or file some kind of report or something, not for anything like that, but to give it to somebody else who lives in another state. So now she's taken information, recording the police, right? Which, let's look this up because I looked it up to see in California, but let's check out um Vegas real quick. Is it a crime? Well, let's just do this. Is it? Is Vegas or Nevada? Is Nevada a two-party state? Yes, Nevada is considered a two-party consent state for audio recordings, especially for phone calls. This means that all individuals involved in a conversation must consent to it being recorded for the recording to be legal. If you fail to obtain consent from everyone, you could face legal consequences. However, in Nevada, video recordings are considered under one-party consent law, meaning at least one person needs to give permission to release, disclose, or share the video. She did not video record this cop. She audio recorded this cop in Vegas, right? And let's see if it's, let's see. Hold on, y'all. We just gonna get down to the nitty gritty here. Okay, in Las Vegas and Nevada in general, recording a phone call, including a call with police, is illegal without the consent of all parties involved. This means you need permission from both the police officer and yourself to record the call. So, not only did you lie to the police, right? That's the first crime, anti. You also recorded the police without their consent, right? And then you disclosed it to someone else. And now you've disclosed it to thousands of people, right? Now you've put it out on your actual not only community wall, but you made a video about it, right? Oh, child, child, child. We're gonna actually. I want to play that part of it because I want to make a permanent record of this, so when she takes it down, because y'all know she gonna take it down, right? Y'all know she gonna take it down. So we're definitely gonna play this recording because, child, please. Now I know Triggs got it on his channel, but I want to actually play it um under fair use because Anti is bugging, y'all. She's fucking bugging. Okay, we got to do something. We got to play this shit. We got to play this, and I'm only gonna play the part about the call to the police. Okay, not because of anything else, but I definitely want to play that part. Um, I really don't want to hear anything else she has to say. But it kind of got chopped up on Trig's show because he was doing his commentary on it, which I understand because you just don't want it to get struck, right? But we're going to go ahead and make a permanent record of this because she's not going to act like she didn't do this shit. Okay. So, because like I said, not only did you do this with Vegas, but shout out to you, Raw, because I was about to get into that. I was about to get into that. California is also a two-party consent state, meaning that all parties involved in a confidential conversation must agree to the recording before recording can legally occur. This would be for California and for Nevada. Okay, so you committed a crime with that. You lied to the police, right? And tried to commit a false report to the police on some bullshit. Like the crimes just keep adding up, sweetheart. What did you talk? She talk about she didn't commit no crime. Like, girl. Okay, let me read y'all comments. She said, let's put all this sector ish aside. Pillz needs to stop interacting with this lady. We heard this lady, the police, she is and will give them information to help convict Pillz. Exactly. Now, the actual case has been thrown out at this point, right? But it's the point that this is something she's willing to do, right? And I do agree. I think he needs to stop fucking with her. But he gonna do what he wants. But at this point, I think he really wants to have a conversation with this chick. And I'm not sure how much protection she'll have at this point, right? Because this was diabolical. This wasn't just, she talking shit about you behind the scenes to remix. No, this was her calling the police, recording herself calling the police over there in your state, over there in your city, and then sending that shit to Remix, who lives in another state. Wow. Wow. It's just wild. You said make a change literally. YouTube nonsense aside, I don't get why Pills hasn't clocked that. Well, I think he has. Because here he's saying, he can't believe people are calling the police. He said, I have people calling the police and trying to put cases on me over YouTube. Whenever I go live, I'm gonna need AAS to hit my link. I do think he's about to address her ass. I definitely think he's about to get into that shit. You said Brixton and Divine is crazy. I don't get it. Right. You said California, however, is a two-party consent, so she is done. Exactly. And I appreciate you being in the building, sis. You said it's a federal crime. You said this applies to both in-person conversations and telephone or electronic communications. Exactly. You said recording someone without their knowledge or consent in these situations can lead to criminal penalties and civil lawsuits. You said, I don't think he is going to get that conversation, but now he knows she never liked him and has no respect for him. Exactly. hmm Exactly. I mean, this is pretty much what it is, right? Like I honestly do think, that, you know, she has taken this further than she's ever taken anything else. Well, I can't even say that. She's tried to call the police on people before, right? With stupid stuff before. But this right here, for her to go this far and lie and use YouTube lies and YouTube drama and all these weird, crazy stories about Social Security and add all that to the story too, like this is how crazy this woman is. This is what they did when they tried to like go after Carrie's job, right? They put all these fantastical, crazy sector stories together to tell these people, and they knew it was lies. They knew it was a bunch of bullshit, and that's exactly what was going on with hey Triggs, appreciate you coming in the building. That's exactly what was going on, even with that situation and every other fantastical story that they've told, with the drama situation, with every other situation that they've told. They've used sector bullshit to try to take people down, and it doesn't work. It literally doesn't work. They're making this shit up, and this shit's all in their fucking head. It's fucking wild. But it was still a crime, anti. Like, no matter how much you try to get out of this, you literally committed a fucking crime, several fucking crimes on that one call alone. Not only with the parties, two party consents for both, right? For both states, but also with the phishing that you tried, trying to get that young man's information, all this other, that's a crime. You can't just be out here fish attacking people and asking for questions, asking for people's personal identifiable information. Are you crazy? What is wrong with you? Like you're fucking nuts. All this kind of stuff that you're doing, you know, on top of lying to the police as it was. Just crime after crime after crime on top of crime. What is wrong with you? And I want to say this. I don't really like the whole calling the police thing or whatever, but there's people in this sector that will call the police on your ass, okay? And let them know about you. Like, you think Remix tried to call the FBI on fucking Lemon. Was it the FBI or the police or somebody? I don't know who he called, but he tried to call somebody on Lemon. You think he won't try to call these people on you, anti, and tell them that you did this? You think a nigga like that, you think niggas won't do that shit to you? Like, that's the part that really gets me. How narcissistic you are, or narcissistic like. I know, Darrell, I ain't gonna use the term. How you behave, right? You got this haughty, naughty, you know, you the shit type of, and it's all for internet clout. But this internet clout, all this stuff, how y'all always say, internet games will get you consequences in real life and all these real life consequences. Y'all always be the only ones facing that shit. It only be the AFWs having these problems, right? Only y'all be having these problems. Anti, you done lost your job over this shit. You done lost your dignity over this shit. You out here lying to the police, committing all these fucking crimes, crashing the fuck out over this shit, over the pressure that Remix got, because he got his foot on your neck right now, and you know it. That's why you're crashing out. Because when you thought you had, you know, all these niggas behind you and everybody behind you and everybody protecting you behind the scenes and all this stuff, right? When you thought you had that, you didn't have a care in the world. You weren't out here crashing out like you are now. You're crashing out as you do every so often when one of your peoples turn on you, right? When one of them stop fucking with you and they start exposing you, that's when you go on the crash outs. And that's what you're doing right now. That's how we know what Remix got is hot as fish grease. That's how we know. Okay. I'm just saying. But anyway, yeah, back to Pills. You know, I really hope that he definitely addresses anti with this shit. He's saying he's going to. I hope he does because Pills, you know, I get it, right? You want to see evidence, you want to see proof of some shit. I'm the same way. And, you know, I can respect that. But now that you have that evidence, you got a responsibility to that, right? You got a family to protect, you got a son to protect. You know, nobody wants any of this stuff to happen to you in real life except this weird bitch. And it's only because she has this insatiable need to see some black man go to jail, right? To see somebody take responsibility for what happened to her in life, basically. That's her reason for why she needs somebody to go to prison, you know, and it's pretty sad. It's pretty fucked up. But this is what you're experiencing and this is what you're facing. All right, guys, let me go ahead and play a timer real quick and then I'm just going to read the comments and we'll be right back on here. I'm just going to play a quick timer and then we're going to end the show. I love that timer right there, y'all. I really do like that one. I don't know which one is my favorite one, but I have a lot of them actually, y'all. I remember I was making like 15-minute timers and stuff like that. I had made some 10-minute ones and different things. And so I got a lot of classic ones with a lot of classic music on it. So I definitely want to go and grab some of those up and bring some of that shit back. But yeah, y'all, I really do love these timers that I got. Let me get into these comments real quick, and then we're actually going to end the show because I want to enjoy the rest of my weekend. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some after parties somewhere. Somebody going to go live and talk about this some more today. We're definitely going to get into that. But either way, like I said, one of the things, just to recap before I get into the comments, yeah, remix, definitely hit me when you're ready, right? I do think and agree that you need to be doing your own show on this um, you know, at first, right? I think that you have a lot more to kind of show and to talk about, and I think it would come across better from your own platform, right? Then I can do, you know, a follow-up Chronicle series with you. I know Darrell wants to do a show with you too, on some emails and stuff. So, you know, this is kind of where I stand with that. But I definitely do think you should be, you know, doing your own show in regards to that because you kind of have the sauce, right? Or, you know, really, you know, Anti is the one crashing the fuck out. I would see what she do. You already got your foot on her neck. That's clear. So, it is what it is. But either way, let's see what happens and then we'll go from there. But yeah, that's where I stand with that. But I definitely do, want to, hand you a couple dollars. You deserve that shit for real. But anyway, let me go ahead and finish up the comments here. Let me go back a little bit because I think I missed some stuff. Okay, yeah, so we're at Triggs here. Everybody's saying hey to each other. Okay. You said hey to Raw B. And you said she was just up there lying, right? Like, child, don't make no goddamn sense, yo. You said Divine, you said I don't know if it applies to all states, but it's actually okay to record police without their consent. So it's okay to record police without their consent if you're video recording, right? There's a difference in video recording the cops and recording them without their consent, right? So like audio recording on the phone. That's not okay to do at all. You do have to have permission because it's a phone conversation. You do have to have you have to have actual permission from them. And they could just say it. They could be like you could be like, I'm recording this call and they'll just be like, "Okay." But you have to actually say it, or even if they don't say okay, if they just continue with the conversation after you said it, then that would be considered an okay, right? So no, it is not okay to record the cops, audio record the cops if you don't have permission from them to do so. Okay, you do have to have their permission to do that. So I want to make that clear, and I want to look that up real quick because I don't want us to be wrong, right? Um, we definitely want to be right about this. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Before I end the show, y'all, I wanted to play this. I do want to play this video because I wanted to make a record of this. So let me present my screen real quick. All right, let's make sure you guys can see it. Okay. All right, let's play this part of the video because I do want to hear this part.
Detective Grabowski.
Hello, Detective. My name's Andrea. Can I get your name? Is it Kerbersky?
Yeah, it's Groversky.
Groversky. Okay. Okay. I called your police department to express some concerns. So if you want to ask me questions about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the email and it's I'm trying to get more information so I can look up this case. But it basically says that we served a search warrant on December 5th.
Yes.
Were you involved in it in any way?
Well, I wasn't involved in it until the person put me in. Like when you say the actual incident of why you did the search warrant, no.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
no. But after that, the person started to make threats to me.
Okay.
If I talked about the crime or posted anything about the crime, he was going to post information that was stolen from Social Security. He was going to, I'm like, what? I didn't even say that I was going to post anything. I was just listening to the commentary.
Yeah. How are you involved in the original crime?
I'm not involved in the original crime at all because I was just, when people were talking about it on the internet, he was the one that brought it up. He brought it up and was posting the search warrant documents. He did that. So that's how we learned about it.
Okay.
So he started talking about it, and I was just one of the people talking about it. And I did not say, oh, I'm going to post about this initially. He ran and did videos saying that if I posted, he was going to post illegal information about my relatives.
Okay.
And I'm going, what? Like,
and you don't even know who this guy is.
I know who he is from YouTube, yes, but I don't know him personally.
You don't know him personally?
No.
You just know his YouTube? His handle is Officer.
Right, Pillsbury. And then he had posted one video. He was drunk, and he said, I think he said Davion. Ask so-and-so about Davion as if it was his name. I don't know if it is his name, but I was interested. If it's a public crime and it's somebody that's known on YouTube, I'm interested in posting about it, but I did not say that at first.
Yeah.
But he's on there telling different versions of the crime. Now, if you're talking about a crime and you're saying this is what he's saying, I don't know if it's true. assault with a deadly weapon, and he's giving different versions about it. Obviously, I'm going to be interested. So he deleted one of the videos, but he still has other videos he did. So if that's something that you need to go get from YouTube, he deleted it.
Well, I would say I looked at it and I don't see anything up there right now.
Okay.
His most recent one's from 2 months ago.
Oh, he's deleting his content. Let me look. Yeah. But I copied the video. Let me see real quick. I copied the video where he made the threats to me. I'm like, what are you doing? You know? No, it's up there. If you go see, it's a Dr. Pillsbury TV. If you hit the live tab where it says live.
Oh, live, okay.
And then it's the live on Pillsbury Drive. P crashed out, response to remix AFW. I can go in there and find the timestamp. I just don't have it right in front of me because it's 4 hours, right? And then if you look where it says shorts and you look on the far left, that's another video he posted, and he's showing your documents up there, which I was like, why are you doing that? And then he's talking about, you're saying I'm lying, and he's just bizarre. And then that's where he shows the officers' names, like the badge numbers. So if you click that on, and then there was another video he deleted. It was 25 minutes where he talked about the crime again. Like he keeps giving different versions about what happened. So you'd have to get that from YouTube because he deleted it. I have the link to it if you need it, but he just deleted it.
If I give you, because he talked about an assault with a deadly weapon.
He said assault with a deadly weapon. In the 25, I think it's in that 25-minute video, assault with the deadly weapon. And then he said, these people set me up. And then on another video, he says, I was defending my family. And he's talking. I'm like, why are you I mean, if he's going to do that, I want to cover it because it's public knowledge. I just didn't have any information at that time. But then he started threatening me. I'm going.
Did you respond to his initial?
Yes. I responded, okay, people told me he's threatening you. I'm like, what is he threatening me for? And
what's the initial one? I mean,
okay, the 25
did you
minute.
Respond to his initial?
No, what happened was.
Is that why he got in contact with you?
Okay, when he posted the video,
yeah,
people started talking about it. And there was a man who ran a live stream talking about it. Like, why are you getting yourself in trouble? Everybody's talking about it. I'm just one of many people. When I was talking about it in that chat, I did not say in that chat, I'm going to go find out or I'm going to research. I was just talking about it with other people. Okay. We're interested in finding out or something. Everybody was just generally talking. Then he does this 4-hour video and says, I'm going to post your family. And that information was stolen from Social Security. And we all, the victims, I'm one of them. We reported that to the police. We reported to Social Security.
You think it's all related?
Say it again.
Coincidental?
Say that again.
Do you think it's all related to your burglary, or is it just a?
No, I don't think it's related. He's just trying to threaten me with another crime that I was a victim of.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's just using threats. And I mean, if you're involved with one crime, why are you using something else to threaten me with? I just don't appreciate it. I mean.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you.
I mean,
so the only issue we have is you're in California, right? We're in California.
Right. I'm in San Diego County, El Cajon.
El Cajon, okay. And he is, if it's the same person I'm thinking of, he's obviously in Las Vegas.
Right.
So if you're receiving anything threatening in nature, what you have to do is get the ball rolling with El Cajon PD.
Okay, I'll do that. Mm-hmm.
So it would just be a phone call to them, have them come out, explain to them the video you're receiving and so on and so forth, because you're the victim, you're out there. If you lived in Las Vegas, you'd be a victim, we'd be taking it. But you have to get the ball rolling with El Cajon first before anybody else gets involved. I don't want to contact him yet because I'm hoping that he's done with, making any type of threats towards you. I just don't understand how you even got involved. I mean, you're not involved in this case.
But he posted it. If you look at his subscription numbers, it's 2.27. Like for the Black community, because we're Black. That's kind of like a larger number on this side of YouTube when we do our content, and people are tuning in and saying he got arrested. So everybody's talking about it.
Oh, got it.
He
Okay.
brought it up. I would not know because I don't know him. This is like 3 years ago. He asked me for help on YouTube. Can you help me with my YouTube channel? I like your content because I do anti-fraud work that's related to the Black community. I started to help him, and then people who didn't like my anti-fraud work threatened him. If you don't give us her emails, we're going to sue you or something. So he got scared and released emails that didn't say anything. There's nothing there, but he's kind of like caved to the people who are frauds.
Got it.
So he gets on there drunk and he starts to, I'm sorry, it's noisy over here. They're doing landscape. He starts to blab about the crime, but he's put the crime on there.
Yeah.
What do we do if people want to hear about it? Like, how can you not be interested in it?
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
So my question is, how do we get more information? It's public knowledge, right?
Yeah, absolutely it is.
Do you have the court number for the case?
That number? Yeah.
Okay.
It looks like it's going to be. Okay. It's probably it will be available, but you have to wait a little bit before it becomes available. I don't think it's available yet.
Is there a heading like the state of Nevada versus who would be at the top?
It just says it would be the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, and this is regarding an assault with a deadly weapon case.
Yeah, but who did? You know what they say? The state of Nevada versus who would be the first person up there?
It's probably going to be. Because it's two people and I can't give the information, it's going to be two separate defendants.
Oh, two separate defendants.
Yeah.
Okay,
so I can't give you the names, obviously.
Because okay.
But once you get that number through the courts, when it's available, you'll be able to obtain it. Correct.
But I think I'm going to text you a link for another video that he deleted. I mean, again, I'm anti-crime. I was a crime victim advocate. I was a crime victim myself. I'm not running around causing trouble, but if this is something he brought up, and if you're investigating it and you need evidence, you probably should get that.
Send it to me. I'm going to give my email address, my work email in a second. Okay. But that's something you're going to want to save for, obviously, El Cajon when you decide to document this. But tell me when you're ready to take out my email.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, it's kind of long. It's my work email. It's D.
Right, and I'll send you the actual links because sometimes you got to navigate through find the timestamp when he made the comments, and I'll find the timestamps where he's talking about the crime.
Yeah, please. Just so I have some idea what's going on. And if push comes to shove, and if you feel that you want us to contact him at least unofficially, I can probably do that. But you're going to want to get the ball rolling with El Cajon. Yeah.
Okay. So I can't believe he talks about it. You should not be talking, right?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
But for you, you like that because help you get a conviction. Help you get a conviction, right?
Yeah.
But if he did something like that, you shouldn't be on the street. You should get a let the judge and the jury decide. Yep. But the case is active, right?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
You just don't
That's why it's probably not going to be available yet to be viewed. Right,
and you can't just do a search warrant for a little rinky-dink stuff, right?
No, a judge has to approve it, all that good stuff. Yeah. So.
Well, I hope that you are successful because he shouldn't be doing stuff like this.
No, of course not. Of course not.
But he's very impressionable.
Yeah.
And he'll just he'll talk.
Get a lot of followers.
Because he talks so much.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate your help.
You're welcome.
You take care. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Child, this is wild. This is crazy, y'all. Like I have so many things that I have questions about, and I'm sure a lot of y'all do, just based off of the fact that the comments keep going off. But I definitely want to at least talk about this stuff because this is just nuts, y'all. Okay, Anti is completely out of her fucking mind. I mean, it is official. This woman is out of her mind. There's no way that she thought that this was normal, but she obviously did. And I wanted to bring up a couple of key points that I just heard in this before we end the show, and then we are going to get to the comment section because I know y'all have a lot to say. All right, so one of the things that really stood out to me is the fact that she said that she's a victim of crime herself, right? And I think that that is kind of what's driving her to be doing this crazy shit to begin with, right? I mean, maybe not, I don't know, right? But it's the fact that she would say that, and that's not something I think she's really openly said to the sector. Maybe she has, but I don't know. But of course, with all this pressure that Remix is putting on her fucking ass right now, she just filibustering and telling us all her fucking secrets, right? So, that's one of them. One of the other things that she did was confirm that she lives there in El Cajon, right? Which is something that everybody has been, kind of back and forth about over the sector. Um, the other one was that she has the court number, right, for the case. And now, once the case, like the cop said, once the case became public, then she would be able to find it, right? So she fished for that. Which would give her access to certain names and stuff. But right now, one of the things about some of those court cases is if you don't have an actual name, sometimes the case numbers are kind of the same, right? And there might be like an extra number that you need or something like that in order to know exactly which one it is, right? And I'm not sure if he was able to give her that at the time. So she may not know. She might think she knows, but don't really know, right? Just fishing through all the court cases with the same number. So I just wanted to bring that up real quick. That is a possible thing, right? And sometimes you really do need to know the name of the person or the names of the defendants, to kind of break down exactly which one. Especially in pacers like that, there's a lot of those cases that have the same numbers, the same series of numbers and stuff, and then there might be like something else that you need to go along with that case number. And if you don't have that, then you're not going to find the case, or you're going to have to fish through all the cases with that same number. And sometimes there's a lot of them. So I just wanted to point that out. Um, and then also, the cops can't seem to understand like why this would be of importance to her, right? Like, how are you could like this is he couldn't get beyond that part of it, right? I wanted to bring that part out because I thought that shit is just wild. And she couldn't really explain it either because it sounds so stupid, right? By this point, like she couldn't even explain even herself how she was involved, and how the cop just seemed so perplexed by that, right? Which anybody in their right mind would, okay? And I really believe, and I want to say this kind of speaks to some shit here, right? Let's just break this down for just real quick, and I promise y'all I will get to the comments. Um, but let's just break that down real quick because I really feel like Anti always tries to come off to the sector like she's had this victory battle against somebody behind the scenes, right? Like everybody's behind the scenes, she's talking to probation officers and talking to cops and judges and all these other prestigious people and getting people locked up all over the place, right? um she acted like she has these victories with these things and that these people are all on her side, and that she's got them all like under her like bat wing or whatever, and she just out here just fighting crime, right? And the whole time people are actually reacting to her like this, okay? Like this cop did. Like, yeah, he's trying to be nice. But you need to call your local police, right? We're not going to call him. It's not really, unless you can, pose that there really is some kind of threat. We're not about to do this, right? And she couldn't understand. She can't comprehend in her mind, how crazy she looks calling these people with this crazy shit, right? Like, and this ain't the first time Anti has been treated like that. When she called the cops on Flacco, they gave her the same kind of cold shoulder, right? She's done this multiple times and has been embarrassed with this multiple times. But she tries to act like, this is some all she always has all these battles and everything be going on, everybody be on her side, you know what I mean? And they really don't. They treat her like this cop did. And that's why, the whole that's it. I can guarantee this is how people have been responding to them this whole time. Like these probation officers, these calling Drama's job, calling Carrie's job, all of these people are responding to them with the same cold shoulder because y'all are crazy. Because the things you're doing are not normal, right? This is not normal fighting crime behavior. Like this is not that. And I really don't even understand it other than the fact that she's been a victim of crime and she hasn't been able to like process that shit. She needs to start processing that. For real. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about that real quick because I thought that that was crazy. Um, and then there was something else that she said in there about pills. She said that he caved to the people that commit the fraud, right? That is another lie she told. Like she told this whole fantastical story of me and Shakim taking or allowing Pills to show us his emails, and neither one of us threatened to sue him. None of that ever happened or any of that shit. But this is something she made up to the police, like just on some bullshit, right? When we were, well, it was time for her to get cooked. We were looking at the emails. Shout out to Pills. He showed us the emails. That's what happened. Nobody threatened him. Nobody said none of that shit. None of that happened at all. Okay. None of that happened. And shout out to Pills. That's my nigga, man. But no, none of that shit ever happened. Pills just was like sick of their crap, just like Remix has been sick of their crap, just like me and Mines was sick of their crap, just like Glorion was sick of their crap, Nikki was sick of their crap, KKC was sick of their crap. Everybody, let me see your transcript. With everybody you can think of, we're sick of their bullshit. Okay, they just couldn't understand that. Anti could not come to terms with people wanting to disconnect from her and not want to deal with her. And this is how far she's willing to go because you don't want to deal with her. Because you don't want to talk to her. You don't want to fuck with her. You don't want nothing to do with her. You just want her to just leave you the fuck alone. And she wants to call the cops on you. She wants to try to separate you from your family. She wants to try to get your job removed because she just doesn't like you. Not because you've done something to her, not because you've mistreated her in some kind of way. You just really don't want shit to do with her. But the bitch keep coming back. Like she keep coming back. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, leave us alone. If you're so done with us and we're so terrible, move on with your life, right? Like most of us have done that. We're doing other things. We're not really talking about, all this stupid stuff, but you're still over here warring with yourself, anti, over the sector, over shit that was happening during COVID, right? Over shit that was over 5 years ago, right? Now, at this point, with you being online, it's been much longer than that. It's been like 7 to 8 years that you've been fighting this Umar Johnson battle that's over. Okay, you've lost that battle. That's just what it is. And you're still trying to come at a sector who don't really give a fuck about you. Like we're honestly doing other things, but you keep bringing us back because you keep doing this fantastical shit. Like calling the cops on people and over YouTube drama. You know what I mean? It's not like it's really something serious. And in your mind you think it is, and you end up calling the cops, lying to them to try to prove your point like you do in the sector. And it just goes to show how crazy you are, how much help you really need. It's really crazy. It's really sad. It's really sad. Anyway, you said, Triggs, what's up, bro? Still catching up on your live. It was kind of late, so if you can, please leave it up. Yeah, I wanted to go over some parts of it, but I'm not going to do that because I think everybody got to see it, and if they didn't, they should go over there and check that out. But I definitely wanted to grab this video from Anti because, honey, what you ain't about to do is be over here lying to the people, acting like you didn't say these things and you weren't doing these things because you was. Okay. You was. You said even in two party states, there was court ruling on this. Okay. You said phishing, a common tactic employed by bad actors, involves using deceptive messages, often disguised as legitimate communication, to trick individuals into revealing personal information such as passwords, credit card details, and other sensitive data. Somebody hired Brian Neumeister, a digital forensics expert and CEO of USAA Forensic. Ciao. You said, Brixton, leave me a comment whenever you finish it, and then I'll take it down. You said, Trig's dope for sure. You said, sorry, I'm jumping accounts, have to share the live out. Thank you. You said, Remix doesn't even have to drop anything at this point. She's self snitching. Exactly. And like, as long as he keeps that pressure on her, you know, shit, child. The funny part is that's what she did with Mona. Mona put that pressure on her ass, and Anti started self snitching. She started throwing all everything out there that she was saying and doing. That's what Anti do, child. So I agree. You said, "Hey, Raw." You said definitely Raw. She said a lot in his panel. Uh huh. You said, "Hey, Bernice." Hey, Triggs. Okay, everybody's talking to each other. He says seven. Even last night, I was listening to that call. Like, oh my child, I couldn't believe it. Like, I just couldn't believe. Every time I hear it, I hear something new too. That's why I just started going over some of the shit I just heard. He said, and she's passing a lot of blame onto her handbag puppy. Okay. You said it's possible, could be considered Rico acts. She better be careful, child. You said, where is Pills? That boy gone silent. Yeah, I think he want to talk about it on his own show. And I think that's a good idea, for real. Good morning. Hey, KK Du jour. I appreciate you being in the building. You said, hey to KK. You said, Pills is like, child. Hey, Teresa. I appreciate you being in the building. You said, Mind Chaos Brew. You said, hey to K. Okay, everybody's talking to each other. You said, whoa. Hey, Black Wolf. You said, whoa, whoa. So Anti, aka Old Dusty, finally got her card pulled. This damn YouTube is a consumption of too many people's lives. Why? Okay, it don't make no damn sense, child. You said, hey, the Black. She sounds crazy. She sounds so crazy on that call. She sounded so crazy on that call, y'all. That's just wild to me. Just wild. You said, this is the big bad wolf. Child, you say, yo, is Anti okay? Like, what is going I mean, what is really going on, right? What is really going on? You said too big. This is interesting. You said absolutely not. You said which are in fact his documents, right? So he can show those documents because they gave them to him. So he's allowed to do that. I don't know why she thought he was going to get in trouble for this. This is just crazy. He said she's snitching like a fat rat. Gat child. He said, does Rev tell his family this what he was doing online because AAS said he told her not to give Remix the information. So AAS implicated him in this BS. Exactly. So how did he get it, right? How did he get it? Did he get it from Anti or did he get it from Rev G? Who gave it to him? Anti. Who gave Remix the drop on Pills? Was it you or was it Rev G? Because you obviously got the information. We see that because you showed us that. So did you give it to Rev G or did you give it to Remix directly? That's a very good question right there. Uh-huh. Because she's the one that actually said that she told Rev G not to give him anything on Pills. So that means you gave it to Rev G to give to Pill. I mean to give to Remix, but he never gave it to him. You claim he never gave it to him. Well, how did Remix get it? Did Rev G give it to him or did you give it to him, Anti? Hmm. You said you never get a badge number in a document, only if they show up. You said anti saying Pillsbury behavior is bizarre. ID hilarious. Hey, Shakim, appreciate you being in the building. Everybody saying hey to each other. You said, Shakim, I still got to catch your replay today. Me too. Hey, Slander. Appreciate you being in the building as well. You said, everybody, please tap that like, please. You said, she's so pathetic. It's unreal. Most people are with family, friends, enjoying life. AAS is on to the police. about YouTube shit. It's pathetic, right? It don't make no damn I can't believe she made that call to the cops like that. That shit is nuts, y'all. You said, Triggs, thanks. You had a great show last night. It was great. It really was. You said, do anyone know what burglary she's talking about? Okay, so this is how I took the burglary thing. I did hear what you said too, right? And that's a possibility. Mm. But what I thought was this guy doesn't know anything about any of this stuff in the sector. um he's not like really aware of what's really happening when she's talking about they stole our social security stuff, right? Like he might think she's talking about a check, right? Like she got social security checks stolen and all the victims know about it and we called the cops and all this stuff. He's not thinking somebody allegedly worked there and got their social security information and then this cop is not thinking that, right? This cop is thinking her house was burglarized. And I mean, that's just my thoughts on it, right? I mean, that's the only logical thing I can think of, coming from a cop who lives like 2 states away, you know what I'm saying, or a state away from you. And they have no idea what you're talking about right now about anything on the internet and burglarizing social security, stolen social security. I would think they're talking about a social security check got stolen, and several people in the neighborhood's social security checks got stolen, or whatever nursing home you're in, social security checks got stolen. This is what I would think he's talking about. She's talking about, honestly, when it comes to So that's why I didn't take the burglary thing that serious, but I did. I thought that's what he was thinking, right? So which would be funny if that was true. But your thought on it could have been too, right? That was I like conspiracy tags, so that was pretty funny. You said Shakim appreciate it. You said D7. You said she needs help. Child help is not even I don't even know what to call this at this point. You said that's not a large number. Okay. You said two big bricks and hey, sweethearts. You said Triggs, I listened again. I believe when she said the SS was stolen, she thought she meant physically stolen. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Make a change. I'm thinking that they're thinking like there was a check stolen or something, and a couple of your neighbors' checks got stolen and all of y'all victims called the cops or something. I don't know. That's, shit. You said it is just larger than her. Exactly. They said burglary because she said her stuff was stolen, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought too. You said make a change. Okay, thanks. You said right raw. You said delicious. She sounds elderly on this call. Child, very elderly, right? And she is older, but she's probably aging herself even more with just the shit she be talking, the crazy shit she be trying to involve herself in. And this was just a few months ago when she did this. Oh, and you know what? There's one last thing I want to say about that video too, because she did, no matter what she says, like I said earlier, she did think that Remix was a part of her inner circle. Okay. She has certain things that she shares with her inner circle, and Remix is one of those people. And so she gave him some bombshell, diabolical shit, right? She knows it. And, no matter what, she's going to try to say, that he doesn't have anything and, all this other shit. But no, he definitely has that sauce. She knows that. And she's implicating Rev G along with it, and everybody else. She's going to drag everybody down with her because that's the kind of shit that she do. And, that's pretty unfortunate. But, Pills, I would never fuck with her again. I would never ever fuck with her again. Like, I don't know. You gonna do whatever you want to do. I'm always be there and support you. But I would never fuck with that bitch again after that shit. 'Cause this shit is fucking nuts. This is wild. That she would go this far, to try to ruin your life. And this was just a couple months ago. And trust and believe. This is the final thing I really want to say about it. Trust and believe. Except, if Remix wants to do something on the Chronicles, then we'll talk then. But trust and believe, right? She had no intentions of this getting out to the public, y'all. She had no intentions of this coming out to anybody. She expected Remix to keep this to his bosom and to stay on the same side as her and fuck with her and ride out like some weird ass cartoon, right? And she really expected that shit and didn't expect to ever have this shared to the public. So Remix put that pressure on her to make sure that, she knew that he was going to release that and other shit, and let's see what you got. And she ended up releasing it herself. That's a damn shame, we're anti. And you know damn well you had no intentions of us ever hearing this conversation. This was intended for only Remix and maybe whoever else you might have shared it with. But you had no intentions of this ever coming out to the sector because this damns you. This actually implicates you in so many ways. It tells us where you live. It tells us everything about what you do behind the scenes. It tells us how many lies you go to, how you make up shit that's going on the sector, make it up to the police and all kinds of stuff. It showed us how the police treat you, right? How they don't give a fuck about any of this fantastical stories you're telling, right? It took all of your power. When you dropped this, it took all of your power. Period. Any power you thought you had, you no longer have. It's drained, honey. It's over. Okay. Shout out to Remix because he truly slayed them AFWs, and that's just what it is. And there's definitely more to come, I'm sure. But he really don't have to do anything else because he literally slayed her with this. So it is what the fuck it is. Let me go ahead and finish up the comments here. You said, I'm glad she snitched on her child. Me too. Me too. You said, Slander, hey, honey. You said, hey, Slander. He said, "Who's making her crash out again? I know I'm hella late." So Remix has got her crashing out pretty much. You got to go back and check it out. He said, "My opinion." You said she wants Pill's name bad. Child. You said Black Remix has applied pressure, honey. Okay. You said Raw, this is wild as fuck and sick. Child. You said Raw. You said slander. You said, is it me? But you can hear the shits in her tone, like when asking about the details about D. It's a weird itch. Yeah, like she just be asking people details like she needs to get their information. Like she just feeds off of this shit. It's fucking sickening. It's weird shit. Like you can hear the itch and the twitch in her voice and everything. Yeah, for sure. You said it's not advised but not illegal to talk about your own cases, right? You said she's willing to give the cops into to convict Pills. Right. Exactly. To give the cops info to convict Pills. Exactly. You said she must have succeeded once the record became public, since she was able to get the court number out of him. Yeah, and I was wondering if she had the full court number, like I was trying to say a little bit earlier. Sometimes they have a lot of court cases that are very much alike until it gets on the actual docket. And I think he might not have had that as of yet or whatever. I don't know, right? He could have very well gave her the full court number. But if he didn't, then, she may have had to fish through a lot of cases to see whether or not it was him or not. He says she's talking to him like he's Rev G. Exactly. Did you peep that shit? She was talking to this cop like she's talking to the sector, or like she's speaking to somebody behind the scenes about some shit in the sector. Like this shit is crazy, y'all. It's wild. This shit is wild. You said, I wish she could find out who else she done this to. Yeah. I wish we could find out who else she done this to. I mean, we probably can. That's why I'm saying like Remix says he has a lot of information on a lot of this shit. Like her actually doing this shit to multiple fucking people. So maybe she forgot. I don't know, but he about to remind her as you said, Triggs, it's like I said last night. If you know a date and the amount of people involved, you can search public databases. This is crazy. You said, I blame y'all for this. You said, Shakim, a conversation is still needy. Ain't that easy, darling. You said, hey, Black Wolf. You said, beautiful Bernice, what's up, lady? You said, raw, I see now, SMH. You said, so she just basically to the police, once you get Pills in the investigation room, he will sing like a bird. Child, it's crazy. You said she just basically to the police, once you get, okay, yeah. That's what she's trying to say. He's impressionable and talks a lot. Yeah, that's what she's trying to say, which is wild, right? You said, Mac, hello, darling. This shit is nuts. Okay. You said, Teresa, we can have a conversation anytime. You said, hello, my opinion. You said, Shakem, it's been a lot of shit said. Cool. You said, yes, T Pre. You said, she seems like a nuisance. You said she is a nuisance. She's definitely a nuisance child. And I think that the police have picked up on that nuisance, right? Like they definitely the El Cajon police know that she's a nuisance, but I think this guy quickly picked up on it. It wasn't hard to pick up because he kept trying to see what was her connection to all this, right? I could imagine what the email looked like that she sent the cop, and they had to answer to it, so they're just like, what is your connection to this? It probably looks something like the Archibald lawsuit, like the CB lawsuit. It probably looked a bunch like all of that stuff. Like I just have this feeling that email looked like that. I don't know, y'all let me know. But I have this feeling that that email looked like that, just a bunch of gibberish and all kinds of stuff about the internet and people on YouTube and all kinds of behind the scenes. Lord, today, man, that shit is just so fucking funny just to watch some of this shit. I mean, it's sad and funny at the same fucking time. Like it really is. You said LOL. You said y'all noticed her other friend's Netflix ain't said shit. I noticed that. I noticed that. Yeah, like maybe she stopped getting paid too. Who knows, right? Who knows? Because no, Anti is not employed right now. Okay, so she can't pay none of these niggas anything. He said exactly my opinion. He said needed my bad. He said LOL. You said 100 exactly. Yep. You said raw B. You said facts. T pre Pills gave the emails because he thought AFW was going to dox him. Exactly. It had nothing. Me and Shakim said nothing about suing this nigga. None of that shit. We just took the emails and we've been having a jolly old time since then. I mean, that's pretty much what's going on. None of that other stuff happened, but she was willing to lie to the police about this shit just to get this man locked up for what? Just because she wants to see somebody locked up. She's never been able to get anybody locked up, and she wants to see somebody get locked up. He says, so this was in revenge of him sharing emails? Child, literally. Okay? That's part of it. That's a portion of it. He said, that is out of control, child. He said, I hate people. Yo, it makes you just hate people, right? Like, I can't even fuck with this. I can't. You say, yes, just go away, right? You said, same shit with them. Everybody else's fault, but theirs. Exactly. You said, another typo, Lord, y'all get it. Yes, we know. We understand, child. You said their shits be backfiring like a motherfucker every time. Every time. They always take their own heat for their own bullshit. Like it's every time backfiring like a mug. He says she sounds like a manipulative, scheming witch. Exactly. He says she is the ringleader in the AFW organization. If this sector went as one to the police, FBI, or civilly, she would be over and done. Okay? You said there are criminal actions at this point. Exactly. Exactly, child. You said, hey, Slander. You said, Triggs, I missed it. Please leave it up, sir. Yes, Triggs. I know he gonna take it down soon, so y'all gotta let him know. You said the beautiful Bernice, cause she is. You said bingo, my opinion. You said right, T Pre. You said Raw B, watch this blackout meeting coming soon. No shit. You said the beautiful Bernice. You said this is a key piece of evidence. I do not understand why she would leak that because she is so in her mind, she's in this battle, this war, right? And Remix been talking that shit. He put that pressure on her. He was like, yo, y'all want a war? We can really go to war and I could change the whole face of the sector right now. And she knew it. She knows he got that sauce. And so, she felt like she was going to get ahead of it and release it herself. Okay. Same shit she did to Mona. Because Mona said the same thing. Like, you really want to go to war with me? I got you. Let's go. We can do email to email, what you want. And next thing you know, Anti started releasing and just implicating herself in all of that shit, getting people's information, everything. She did it all. It's a pattern with her over and over and over and over again. And, she can't deny it at this point. She can say what she wants, but the evidence comes from her. That's the crazy part. So shout out to Remix for making her do that. You said never, ever, never. You said 34 in the house. Please hit the like. Yes, I appreciate y'all for being in the building out today and hitting the like button up in here. Appreciate that. You said raw beef panic and or desperation causes folks to become frantic. Mistakes are made. I don't know. That itch is so delusional. She probably thinks I'm gonna prove my shits. Watch me work. Okay, just saying. You said no. She thought this was a boss move, right? She thought that was a boss move, child. Like that is wild. You said, damn, my opinion. You said raw B. Hey, hey, Redbone. Appreciate you being in the building. You said, hey, T Pre and chat. Pills. Pills. What's up, baby? You said hit the like for the chocolate star. I've been in the clouds listening to you and thinking. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. And I really get it, right? I'm the same way. I definitely need to see evidence of stuff. I don't think you like to take all of this shit as serious as some people do, right? And I think that you do take the time to be have integrity and to see some evidence of some shit before you come to a conclusion about something. But now you got that evidence. So, like I said, now you honestly are responsible for that. Now that you know. You know what I'm saying? And that's that. You said, hey, Pills. You said, Raw B, salute Queen. You said, Pills Tavius. Okay. You said, Remix went live. I don't know. Did he? I got to go check it out and see. You said, you're going to talk about this. I'm interested in your perspective. Yeah, we definitely want to hear what he has to say. You said, skinny jeans. She's a Svengali. Exactly. You said, sister, hey girl, I thought you were sleeping in. You said, yeah, Raw, I'm gonna go live tomorrow. Yes. I will be there. I know everybody's gonna be there. If one of the mods can put Pill's link in the chat so everybody can get over there and check him out. We definitely want to go check that shit out tomorrow. You said, Bernice, for real though. You said, I'll be there. We're all going to be there tomorrow. You said, Divine, salute. You said, and whatever you're going to do, I'm going to back you. If you're going to give her protection, okay, I'm just hoping that you let, you know what to do. You know what to do, Pills. You said Pillsbury, hey honey, SMH, some fucked up shit. You said, damn, my opinion, salute. Yeah, it's crazy. You said, I don't know what AAS was thinking, but I'm gonna need that conversation tomorrow for real. You said, I'm gonna make sure the officer knows he was recorded without permission by this woman. Let's go. What the fuck I said was gonna happen, y'all? I said this bitch is so stupid. Like she gave all her enemies everything. She just handed herself over to everybody. That's what you just did, Anti. Salute the remix because he definitely put that hot pressure on that ass like a steam cooker. Oh my God. Child. You said Shakem. You said Shakem, salute Big Dog. You said Divine, salute Pills. You need to go live. Yes, yes. You said Shakem, you're using your powers for good now. You said, damn, my opinion, that part. You said, Shakem, I know, but I might wait till tomorrow because I'm off. Okay. You said, no pills, go live today. This shit is hot as fish grease. You need to go live. But if you're gonna wait till tomorrow, hey, I'm with it. Whatever. You say, yeah, Pills, go live today. This is out of order, child. This is out of order. It's out of fucking order. You said, I'm Mike Divine. You said, hey, sweetheart, damn my opinion. You said, Pills, I'm with the ladies. This shit is beyond fucked up. You said, facts, my opinion. Hey, Keeper, appreciate you being in the building. You said, peace, everyone. And okay, so we're getting all the channels dropped. Appreciate everybody for that. You said, Keeper, hey, honey. And you said, my opinion, D7, Raw B. Okay. All right, so we at the bottom of everything here. I appreciate everybody for coming out today. Y'all make sure y'all do hit the like button on the way out, guys. We are going to enjoy our Saturday and our Sunday. If Pills is going to go live today, we will be over there. We're definitely here to support, bro. Whatever you're going to do, I'm with the shits. Whatever you don't want to do, we also going to be with the shits, and that's just what it is. But salute to you and everybody else that came out and everybody that will catch the replay. I appreciate y'all. And we're going to go ahead and end this thing with a timer. Let's see which timer we're going to play. We'll play a classic one. All right, y'all. Yeah, we've been established since 2021, since January 2021. So we've been around for 4 years now. Shout out to all of y'all. Definitely appreciate y'all for always coming around and sticking with the lounge. And peace, guys. Thank y'all again for watching.